In this video, I'm going to teach you a simple free trick that could save your child's life. Hey, it's Morgan here with Passable Parent, where we help you improve developmental outcomes for your child and find the joy in parenting. I've been a pediatric nurse for the past 10 years, specializing in early childhood development. I'm also a new mom. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the awesome content coming. Before we jump into teaching you that simple and free trick that can save your baby's life, I first want to go over 4 rules of thumb when it comes to picking out your child's toys. 1, look for toys that are not made with lead paint. This is very important since your baby will be learning and exploring, and babies learn and explore with their mouths first. That's actually where they have the most nerve endings. Not only are they putting their hands in their mouths because they're teething or other issues like that, this is going to be how they can explore and find out more about their world. So putting everything into their mouths is something that babies do to learn more about this world. So anything with lead paint is really dangerous for your baby to be putting in their mouth. So that's something that you really want to look out for. You want to see where your toys are coming from, what sort of paints they're being made with. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Make sure that you're getting your toys from a trusted place, or that they come with where they're made and the information on any paint that is being used on them. Another thing to look out for is if you're buying plastic toys, you want to make sure that they're not made with BPA or other BPA alternatives. Research has shown that BPA actually can cause poor developmental and physiological outcomes in your child. You want to check and see, again, where those toys are being made, and if you read the back or the description, if you see BPA or any BPA alternatives, you don't want to purchase those toys. The next rule of thumb is that toys with batteries should not be given to the child unsupervised, or they should be secured, screwed in, and unable to break. And again, these toys should be checked on by caregivers frequently to make sure that there's no chance of them opening or breaking open. I personally, and this is just my opinion, I don't like toys with batteries in them, and that just comes from my years of experience in early childhood development and also my years of working in the hospitals and just seeing horrible outcomes of what can happen if your baby ingests a battery. That's just where I'm coming from. That's just my opinion. Again, everybody's different. Everybody makes different choices. There's no one right way to parent. If you are going to give your child toys with batteries in them, please just make sure that the batteries are secure. Also, that goes for remotes. You don't want to leave your television remotes laying low or any type of device that contains batteries, because your children are smart and they start to get into these things, and you turn away for 1 second and they can figure out how to open that battery cover. So if you want one that is screwed in and it's screwed in securely, and you're frequently checking to make sure that it still is. Anything other than that, they will figure out, like the back of a remote, how to open that in a split second. So those all want to be kept out of reach. The next rule of thumb is when you're picking out toys that have strings on them. These toys are not a no-go, but they need to be only played with an adult present supervising. Toys with strings can lead to strangulation and choking in the child, so you really want to be careful with anything with strings. This also goes for things like shoelaces. Again, your children are smart. They can figure out how to get these shoelaces undone, and it can become a strangulation or choking hazard. So it's not a no-go. Those pull toys with the strings, they're great for your child's development. It's a great way to learn different skills, motor skills, fine motor skills, gross motor skills. But again, they just need to be with adult supervision. A caregiver needs to be present when they're playing with these toys. So jumping into that free, simple trick that we talked about. Most people have one of these lying around their house. This is a toilet paper roll. This actually mimics your baby's airway. They do market different tools for this that you can buy, but this is something that most people already have at home that is at no cost to them. You can actually use this toilet paper roll to check and see which toys your baby should not be left alone with. They should not be left alone with anything that fits inside this toilet paper roll, because this mimics their airway, which means anything that fits inside is a choking hazard. The first toy we're going to talk about is a toy that passes the toilet paper airway test. This is a block. This block, of course, passes because it does not fit through the opening. So this would not be a choking hazard for your child. Next toy we're going to talk about also passes the toilet paper choking test, but I just want to talk about it because it's still one of those toys that I would not leave a child alone with unsupervised. You'll see why. So this toy, this passes because it doesn't really fit through, but it's marginal. And also it has these little wheels on it, which I don't know if there's any risk that they could come off, but I would not leave my child or any child in my care alone with this toy car. So it's marginal, and it also has these little pieces on them. So it's still a great toy, but it's a toy that needs to be played with when an adult is present. The next toy is just an example of one that flat out fails. This little toy car goes right through. As you can see, just goes right through. So this would be a choking hazard. And I recommend that parents do this with any toys that look even remotely questionable. And any toys that fail this test should not be left alone with your child. So the next toy that I want to talk to you about is any kits. When you get toy kits, you also want to make sure each component in the kit passes the test. This is a great one. Make sure that the paint on it was not any type of lead paint. It's wood, so I don't have to worry about the BPA, and I also check to make sure that there's no BPA or BPA alternatives used in this. The paint is made with safe paint, and same with the paint on the balls, because this came in a kit. I'm going to check these balls because I just wasn't sure if they were marginal, so it passes. There's no way that the balls in the kit could fit through the toilet paper test. This is an example of just make sure you check any kits that come or any toys that have multiple components. Make sure you're checking every component that even looks marginal or questionable to make sure that it passes the toilet paper airway test. This is an example of a multi-piece toy that not all components of it pass the toilet paper airway choking test. At first glance appears like a great toy, and it is a great toy, but it needs to be used with caregiver supervision, and it has these little pieces, these little carrots. This is to practice your fine motor skills, putting in and popping through, but they also fail our toilet paper airway test because they just go right through. So this would be a toy that is great if a caregiver is present. It's great for learning. So it's not no to all these toys that are failing our tests. It's these toys are not to be played with unless a caregiver is present and watching and actively making sure the child does not choke on any of the toys. It's not just about when children are actively playing with these toys. It's also about where these toys are being stored. You want to make sure that the toys that are choking hazards are not stored within reach of the child, that they can't access these toys without a caregiver present. Thank you again so much for joining me today. I hope that these tips and these rules of thumb and the simple toilet paper airway test can help you determine which toys should be played with supervised and unsupervised, and which toys need to be stored out of reach of your child. I also hope it helps you determine different factors in choosing toys. Again, thank you so much for joining me today, and please don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Can't wait to see you next time.